Good evening and welcome to the Melissa Cardinals Network. This is Trey Graham with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally joining you from the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. You're invited to join us every Monday evening, 5:30 p.m. to enjoy some dinner and learn about your favorite program. Cardinals are now 10-1 on the year. Big first-round playoff victory over White House. Final score 49-21. 10-1 sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yes, sir. Once again, we were a little concerned coming off the lull of the Lovejoy game, and my wife said it best. It kind of took us about 2 series to kind of get over it and to move forward. So just super proud of the kids and the coaches. Obviously coming off of a loss, and you're going into the playoffs, there's that concern. But they did such a great job of overcoming adversity in some situations and propelling and coming up with the victory.
So you brought it up. 9 wins in a row, regular season finale a loss, first round playoff win. So how do you not live the roller coaster?
I think, the big thing is we did something last week, and I hate to be this way, but it was an exercise that I took from and I can't think of the guy's name, but he was the head coach at De La Salle in California, and we did an exercise with the team just about commitment and appreciation and things like that. And when you really start to break down a season, and you understand that, at the end of the day, it's really not about winning and losing. It's about the bonds that you're making. It's about the team and each team member and what they bring and the value that they bring and whatnot. I thought that was a great thing for us to kind of take a step out of the box and really focus in on what's important, and that's each individual on the team and what makes the team the team. So I think that was a big deal. And to be honest with you now, it's not even a thought. We knew that in this playoff run, there's a really good chance you're going to play sock. And at the end of the day, I hate to be this way, and I think I said this last week, but, to quote Ric Flair, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And, right now they're the best. People can say, we were ranked 1 for 9 weeks, and people are just pointing at Melissa and whatnot. Well, at the end of the day, Sock is the 2-time defending state champion, and they deserve respect. So our whole focus is on Sock. So I think that's another thing too. You're over it. You're moving on. You're refocusing on a great opponent. So once again, I think that's a big deal to it as well.
We'll talk about the Golden Bears in detail in just a few minutes, but a few stats from this past week. Again, the final score was 49-21 over White House. You led 21-7 at half. Total yards, 416 for Melissa, 201 for White House. You doubled them up. And so that's the good news stat. And then you see the next stat, 12 penalties for 134 yards.
Earlier in the year we were talking about on sportsman likes and whatnot. To me, a personal foul, it's so, you might get tangled up with a guy on the sideline or whatever, and they might say it's a personal foul, you hit him too late or whatever. But on sportsman likes are things that I can't stomach very well. So you have conversations.
It's a discipline.
Correct.
Issue.
You have conversations, but we did our education today in discussions, but we also did our education today in extracurriculars, just because of the fact of in the playoffs, free yardage you can't give up. It doesn't matter.
134 of them.
Yeah, you can't. I think 60 of it is probably unsportsmanlike. So at the end of the day, we can't do that, to be successful. So like I said, at the end of the day, we have to take care of those pieces of it. Penalties are penalties, and things are going to happen. You're going to have false starts and offsides, and you're going to have personal fouls. It is a football game. But at the end of the day, the unsportsmanlike, we can't do that. We can't do that. So that piece, at least for me, I feel better about it moving into the Sock game that we've cleaned up. Sock had a kid ejected in their game against Everman. And once again, I get it. They're young men. People are full of testosterone. Let's go. We're hitting each other, and even as coaches, you're competing, and but at the end of the day, we can't do that anymore to be successful in the playoffs. So, this is the first time that on this program that normally I come in and I know the penalty question is going to come, and I have a good answer. you try to like really educate kiddos and things like that. But I went old school today. I'm not going to lie to you. So
They got to run a little bit?
they got some extracurricular activities.
That's
yes,
good.
sir.
The
Yes,
heart
sir.
rate got
yep,
up?
Yep, sure did.
Good,
Sure did.
good. Trevor Ham was 17 of 25 passing, 261 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He did have 1 interception. Nate Adejokin, 16 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. That gives Trevor 2,144 yards on the year with 39 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That takes Adejokin on the season to 1,434 yards and 15 touchdowns. Remember, he said on this program his goal was 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Right.
You give him a couple more games,
absolutely,
Coach.
absolutely. He has an opportunity.
You're getting there.
Definitely.
Lincoln Dunn has 11 touchdown receptions. Carson Maynard, 17 touchdown receptions. So you're still averaging just under 50 points a game, 48.7 to 18.8. So, again, average score every week, 48 to 18 through 11 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's an unbelievable stat. If you really think about the entire season, that's 11 games of 16, 17, 18-year-old young men pulling off. So, and once again, you had Rocky as your defensive player of the week. He's a sophomore, and you're giving up 18 points a game with 3 sophomores in the back end. So that's amazing to say what those kids are doing and the coaching staff is doing. I knew Trevor was going to have a really good game against White House. They kind of played into Trevor's hands. They were playing press man and off man and things like that, and that's kind of in Trevor's wheelhouse. It's almost like, when you're playing a basketball team and they full court press you, and you are kind of the point guard, and you kind of know, and you can kind of handle the ball a little bit, and you can dribble and beat a press. So I kind of knew that was he was going to have a big night. And then you always expect Nathan to have a big night and what he does and whatnot. And, Micah Finan ended up having like 17 or 20 tackles. Donahoe, I think, had 12 or 15 tackles. But Rocky did such an unbelievable job of making tackles in space. But once again, that's a big deal about those kids and whatnot. I know you're going to talk about Gunnar too, but Jackson Ford got hurt in practice last week, and Gunar Wilson just did what Gunar Wilson does. He's came off from last season to game 11 and just went in there and scored 3 touchdowns, and had, I think, 7-8 catches or something like that. So, just great kids, and once again, just executing the game plan.
You're leading into our next segment, which you'll meet the offensive player of the game for the victory over White House. That was tight end Gunar Wilson, and then our defensive player of the game, sophomore safety Rocky Dunn. And, Coach, we were this close to an all-time school record.
Really?
Yes.
What was it?
We were almost going to have Gunar Wilson as the offensive and defensive players of the game.
Yeah.
If he hadn't dropped one of those picks, he could have had 2 picks in that game. If he'd have gotten one of those, we were going to bring him up here with a 2-way award.
Yeah. He what an amazing kid, though. I've had the opportunity to be around Gunnar since 4th and 5th grade, and to watch him grow and whatnot, and just, his story is really awesome. A lot of people, recruiting-wise, weren't taking a shot at Gunnar just because of the fact of, some people questioned his size, some people questioned his speed, and then, Gunnar always, he's not a overly vocal kid, but when he speaks, you listen. But he spoke with his actions throughout his junior year in the last spring, and he got rewarded for multiple scholarships. But he's going to Oklahoma State. But what a special kid! He's going to grow up to be an unbelievable man. So raised right, comes from a great family, and I can't say enough about Gunar Wilson. He'll be one of my all-time favorites of all time.
And a newcomer to an award, sophomore Rocky Dunn. His brother's been here a lot.
Yeah, heck yeah. The one thing about Rocky is, and I said in our coaches meeting yesterday, is, when you play, you're in the playoffs, but you definitely play a team that is extremely physical team. You want your best 11 tacklers and your most physical kids on the field. And, Rocky might be the best tackler we have on the team. And to be a sophomore, that's a big deal because of the fact he played a little bit as a freshman later in the year. But for Rocky to do what he's done on the football field this year as a sophomore, it tells you a lot about his guts, because he is not scared, extremely athletic in space, and that to me is the hardest thing to do in football, is to make a tackle in space. Extremely tough, physical kid, but once again, I mean, just a solid person. Is going to grow up to be a great man, raised right. Just golly, man, I can't speak enough about Rocky and Lincoln Dunn, but both of them are just great human beings. I will say this, out of Rocky and Lincoln, Lincoln's faster than Rocky, but the little brother is not the little brother, you know.
The little brother who's bigger.
yeah. So, but like I said, just overly proud of both of those young men and what they've done this season, but really who they are as people.
You're going to get to meet Gunar Wilson and Rocky Dunn after this break. And before we go to the break, I'll invite you and your family to join us at First Melissa every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. Would love to have you join us then. Go to firstmelissa.com to find out more. We'll take a break and meet these players of the game. After this break, you are joining us from the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. Welcome back to the Dugout. This is Trey Graham, and you're going to get to meet our Defensive Player of the Week in just a moment. But first, you're going to get to meet our Offensive Player of the Week for the big victory over White House. This is tight end Gunar Wilson. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We were trying to count how many times you've been here.
Yeah.
So we had you 7 receptions, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
What was the game plan going into the White House first-round playoff game?
We knew they played a lot of man, so the tight end was going to be open. Just we could create mismatches with their safeties and linebackers. And really, I just had to step in and play for Jackson because he was out.
You did. You played almost the whole game both ways.
Yeah, I did.
Was that what you anticipated going in?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you prefer offense or defense?
I guess it really just depends. I don't really know. I like both.
Okay. But you're definitely playing defense at Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
Have they talked to you about offense?
No, they haven't.
Okay. Tell us about the recruiting process and what led you to that decision.
Really, my recruiting started pretty late. I got a couple of offers from smaller schools along the way, and then I got an offer from Oklahoma State, and I really just committed then.
Okay. Did you visit?
Yeah, I did. I went on my official visit in June.
Okay. What was that like?
It was nice. They got amazing facilities, amazing campus, the best coaches there is in the country, so that's what really sold it.
And they have you set to play linebacker?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you looking to study when you get there?
Marketing or business.
All right. What is it as your role now as the senior and a team leader? What's that like?
I just got to make sure everyone's doing their job and the younger guys are prepared and ready to go for each game.
Okay. And is that through film? Is that through on the field? What does that look like?
Mostly on the field. Just making sure they're mentally locked in and practice ready to go, not messing around or anything.
And who were your mentors when you were a younger player?
Ashton and Sam. They were my mentors when I was younger.
Okay. And what did they teach you?
Just stay calm and just keep working.
All right. And tell me what Nate Hemsley has taught you.
Coach Hemsley, he's taught me a lot of how to play a linebacker. Just play slow to fast, read your keys, and hit the hole hard and make a tackle.
So what makes a good linebacker?
Nowadays, it's a little bit different than it was in the past. Most schools want a guy that is able to cover, and that is fast. So instead of like in the old days, and it was like just a big, meaty guy just in the middle. So really, you just got to be a great all-around athlete.
And what is your review of the team so far this season? Good, bad? Or let me say it this way: what's been the best part of the team and the toughest part of the team this year?
Really, the best part of the team, I say, is the bond that we have, especially as a senior group. I feel like a lot of people are really close. The worst part of the team, I don't know. I just say.
What I meant was the hardest part of the year.
The hardest part?
Yeah.
I'd say really just pulling everyone together after the Lovejoy game. Everyone was kind of down after it, but we had to build them back up and get them prepared to go into the next week.
So some people have called that Lovejoy loss the wake-up call. You agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
What does that really mean to you?
I mean, really everyone just got to step up, and we had to practice harder. I feel like some days our practices were lackadaisical and kind of lazy, but now Coach Nally's really been on us.
Good. Well, congratulations for being here.
Yeah.
Our offensive player of the game for the victory over White House was tight end Gunar Wilson, and we're going to meet our defensive player of the game, Rocky Dunn, right after this. Clock rolling, 2nd and 5 from the 33. And fake it to Adejoke and throw it out to Gunar Wilson on the left side in the flats for a first down catch. Inside the 30 at the 28, first down Cardinals. Ball on the left hash, 2 receivers right would be Lincoln Dunn and Jacob Nye. Ham in the shotgun, fakes it to Peanut, throws again a tight end out route caught by Gunar Wilson inside the 15 down to the 13-yard line. It'll be another first down for the Cardinals. As the Cardinals can get a first down here. A minute 15 and counting. Here's 3rd and inches from the 2.5-yard line. Fake it, throw it out to the left side. It's going to be caught. Gunar Wilson, touchdown Cardinals. They get on the scoreboard for the first time tonight. And Trevor Ham throws his 35th touchdown pass of the season. And Gunar Wilson has gone all the way at the tight end spot tonight, has a touchdown catch. Cardinals trail 7-6. They set up in the swinging gate play. Trips right bunch to the wide side. Ham takes the snap and has pressure, throws it left to Gunar Wilson, who makes the catch at the 8-yard line, makes a man miss, and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals. Touchdown, Gunar Wilson with the catch, but we do have a flag on the play back at the line of scrimmage.
It should be offsides against the Wildcats. They did jump early. Trevor knew they had a free play.
Referee Joe Horn says exactly what Ross Graham just said. Defensive offsides, penalty decline, touchdown Cardinals. 30-yard throw and catch from Trevor Ham to Gunar Wilson, his 2nd touchdown of the night. Cardinal.
Montgomery's in the game with Lincoln Dunn and Carson Maynard, all trips to the left side.
Shotgun snap, fake it to Adejoke and throw it on the one receiver route to Gunar Wilson, who makes the catch at the 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Cardinals. 63 yards, Gunar Wilson to the house, and the Cardinals lead 33-14.
Is that his 3rd touchdown reception of the game already? Great job by Gunar. He used his height advantage. He probably had a solid 6 to 8 inches over that defensive back as a H-back there. He's played excellently on offense. I mean, you don't often see a Division I defensive recruit catch 3 offensive touchdowns, so great job by Gunar throughout this whole game. It showed strength and the ability to get up over the receiver, then speed to run down the several yards needed to get to the end zone. Great job by Gunar. And Jordy Vasquez's PAT kick is up and good.
Welcome back to the Dugout Sports Grill. You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham. You just met our offensive player of the game. That was tight end Gunar Wilson. And now you get to meet our defensive player of the game, sophomore defensive back, number 23, Rocky Dunn. And welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Congratulations on being our player of the game. Your first time to win the award.
Yes, sir.
Younger brother of Lincoln Dunn, who's won it a few times. So you are a sophomore on the team, so you're looking up to the seniors like Gunar Wilson and others. So what does that mean? How does that relationship work? How are they your role models or mentors?
They just keep a lot of the younger guys in check. But we still have some younger guys on the team that lead, but they definitely help keep us going, keep us motivated.
Okay. This was one of your best games so far. What led to that? How did you do it?
Well, going into the game, we knew they were going to run the ball a lot, so we wanted to keep me in the box over the tight end so I could help come up and make tackles. So I think that's probably the main reason why.
It's usually not a good news for a defense if the safety is the leading tackler.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially this game, I was able to go up and make tackles just a couple of yards downfield instead of where it's normally around like 8-10 yards downfield and the safety's making the tackle. So I don't think it was very bad that I was the leading tackler this game at least.
Okay. What makes a good safety?
Just knowing what's going on around the field, being able to read the quarterback, and being a good tackler, being physical. I think those are all the main traits, and being able to just fly around and communicate well.
All right, don't give away any secrets, but explain when you break the huddle and you see the offensive formation. What are you thinking? What are you checking? What is your procedure?
Well, first we just need to know where all the receivers are so we can line up correctly, and then make our call as the defensive backs. And yeah, that's really it. There's not a ton to it.
And do you go into the game saying this number 8, this number 75, number whatever? Are you looking at who their best player is, best receiver, running back? Are you keying on a certain player?
Yeah, well, it depends on the team and just how if they run the ball more, if they're pass heavy, and who that player is and how they align with our guys. We'll choose someone. It's not always a specific defensive back, but we'll choose someone to key up on them.
Okay. What's your favorite class in school?
Probably history.
Why?
The easiest one.
Okay. And what do you want to do after high school?
I'd like to play college somewhere, and then probably coach later down the road.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Why is that an idea of yours?
I just want to stay in like the football community, and it's just what I love to do. So.
Very good. And tell me what Matt Nally has taught you about being a football player and a person.
Just loving everybody and staying tight as a group, and he motivates us every week and day in and day out. So I think that's probably the main thing.
Well, congratulations on being the Defensive Player of the Week. Sophomore safety Rocky Dunn, Defensive Player of the Game for the victory over White House. And we're going to come back after this break and talk more with Coach Matt Nally of the Melissa Cardinals right after this. Pro right, split left, and they're going to hand the ball straight up the middle of the field. That carry by Williams to the 21-yard line, gain of 5. Here's a 2nd and 5 play. Shotgun with 2 backs, and it's quarterback lead play, and he will pick up just enough yards. They'll spot him at the 16-yard line, and they are determining that it is a White House first down at the Cardinals 16.
2 straight tackles there by safety Rocky Dunn. So far, White House has been able to break through both the first line of defensive linemen and the linebacker core on the rushing. So the Cardinals D will need to straighten that up, tighten that up. But great tackles 2 times in a row by Rocky Dunn there.
White House in the shotgun, 2 receivers left. They're going to run the football, and that is Jaron Williams on the carry out to the 31-yard line. Going to bring up 3rd down, about 3.
Barely overthrown out of his hands.
2nd down, quarterback draw, and carry will take it to the 43-yard line, which will bring up 3rd down and 6.
Tackled by Rocky Dunn and Micah Finan on that last play.
Here's a 3rd and 4 play, shotgun. And quarterback draw by Carey's going to have a first down at the 20-yard line.
Tackle made there by Rocky Dunn from the safety spot.
Here's 2nd down and 7. Hand the ball off, trying to go to the right side, and that carry by Lacey. Good tackle for the Cardinals there by Rocky Dunn, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and 5. 7.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. In
The second half.
Leopard Stadium.
That would be a big win.
Huge. It'd be a jet sweep going right, trying to turn the corner, not able to do so. The run by Jackson, nice tackle by Rocky Dunn.
Another great tackle. Rocky's had an excellent game tonight, has played all over, displayed excellent quickness, excellent ability to read the defense and read the eyes of Jacob Carey. Good tackle there, holding the Wildcats to no gain.
Welcome back to the Dugout Sports Grill. You got to meet Gunar Wilson and Rocky Dunn, our offensive and defensive players of the game, for the victory over White House. We said on the 11-game season, averaging almost 49 points per game, 418 yards per game. You were right at 50-50 for a while. It's moved a little bit, 55% 40 to passing, 45% running, but still a very, very balanced and productive offense.
Yeah, we don't go into a game saying that we're going to be 50-50 or we're going to be this pass or this run. We don't do that. I hate to be this way, and I really don't hate to be this way, but Mike Leach said, at the end of the day, it's whatever's working is what you're going to call. The only game that I knew that we were going to probably throw it a little bit more than run it was the White House game, just because of the fact of we had matchup issues that we really was in our favor. And besides that, a lot of people starting to bracket Carson. And then what White House was doing, they were trying to bracket Carson, and then they were manning everybody else up. So, for us, thank you, when you're going to man up Lincoln Dunn, and then, they were manning up Gunnar and giving us situations like that we could take advantage of. That's the only game I knew going into we were probably going to throw it a little bit more than we ran it. But for the most part, they do a great job, Coach Russell and that offensive staff of keeping it even, keeping people guessing.
I asked Rocky this, but he's a sophomore in high school, so it wasn't the most lengthy answer I ever gotten. But do you, as a defense, say number 10 is the best player on their offense, or number 33 is their best guy? And do you, as a defense, pick out their number one guy and say, let's shut him down?
Yeah, so we have a period in practice. It's called scouting report. And you go through it as your individual position. So you don't come together as a defense. You don't come together as an offense during practice at that time. You just go through the scouting report that really affects you. And then when you go to film as individual film, and then we do one day that is a unit film. And then that unit film, you've been harped on. These are the kids. So it's like, with your linebacker core, who do you have to stop? Well, we need to stop 2 who might be playing the running back, and then 3 might be the slot secondary. You got to stop number 3, who's the slot, and maybe 5 is the outside receiver. So the defensive line, who do we got to stop? Well, the 2 is the running back, but the center's their best offensive lineman, and 78 their left tackles is their worst offensive lineman. So we do it like that. So they know. If you our defensive structure is as an offensive guy, it's complex, but it's easy for the kids to just react and not play. And that's where kids like Micah and Grayson Donahoe and Colin Craig come into handy, because they can see it. So Coach Hemsley can just give one call, and then based off a formation and based off where a kid is, tendencies and things like that, they can make a call, which gives us the best call for that situation. So we do that, and the same thing on the offensive side. This is the best linebacker. This is the worst linebacker. This is the best defensive lineman, the worst. Yeah, we always try to attack the 11 on offense, and the 11 is their worst 11. So who's their worst defensive lineman? We try to attack that kid. Same thing on the linebacker, and then the same thing in the back end.
And we do need to say they're doing the same thing to you.
Absolutely.
So that's not a novel idea.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the second round playoff game coming up Saturday night, 7 p.m. at the Star in Frisco. The South Oak Cliff Golden Bears, who happen to be the 2-time defending state champions, they did knock off the Cardinals last year in the 4th round of the playoffs. It was a 30-16 final score, and that was played at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington. And really the stat of the night from that game in the 4th round last year was only 28 yards passing by Trevor Ham. And so it was no passing game. It all depended upon the rushing game, and I mean, they are 2-time state champs for a reason.
Right. They were 2-time state champs for a reason, A, and then B. They lost 10 kids off that defense, and those 10 kids were 3-year starters, and those 10 kids were Division I athletes. So I mean, one of their corners now is starting for Texas. So they were unbelievable. I mean, they're still unbelievable, but they just don't have that experience like they had last year. Like those kids had been playing in big games and things like that. But once again, when you're playing as a third-year starter like Rocky when he's a senior, when Dababneh and Patusik are seniors, you're so experienced. You're a true veteran, you know, and you've lived in moments, and those kids have lived in moments, and you know, I mean, at that point in time in the season, they were playing at a high level, and they were the better team that night. So they did everything they wanted to do in the regards of, well, I felt like last year was our biggest what's the word I'm looking for? The best thing we could do is throw the football around, and they took that away from us. Nathan Adejokin was still coming into his own, and Jacob Fields was, you know, he was still playing both ways and things like that. But the best thing we did last year was chunking around, and yeah, they took it away from us.
Nate did have 30 carries, 149 yards, and a touchdown a year ago. So Sauk defeated Liberty Hill for the 2021 state championship. They defeated Port Neches Groves in 2022. And because of the brackets, because you're the number 2 seed, you get to meet them in the second round. A year ago, it was in the 4th round. So we talk a lot about rivalry games.
Yeah.
But this isn't a rivalry game. This is a revenge game. Mm-hmm. But is it a similar emotional thing, or does revenge officially not matter?
You know, definitely not a rivalry game. You know, it'd be kind of neat if it became a rivalry game, but definitely not a rivalry game. A revenge game, I mean, for us, obviously, yes. You know, you want to prove to yourself and to the state that you belong with teams like them, and that's everybody in the state except them. You know, I mean, people can say whatever they want to say about rankings and all those things. I mean, there were so many teams this week that they were a 1 seed and got beat by a 4 seed. I mean, you know, the playoffs are the playoffs, but in 5A Division II, the king is Sauk. So everyone's trying to play up to the level of Sauk. So that's really the thing that you're trying to accomplish right now is playing at that level. And if we can play at that level Saturday night, I feel like we'll win the game. But once again, Sauk's been so experienced. They played a ton of games in the last 2 or 3 years. So and we have too, but they've played at AT&T. And obviously that's our goal, and we want to get there. But you got to play a great opponent in them, and I feel really good that our kids are going to show up and play well.
7 p.m. kickoff this Saturday night. Make sure you note the date. 7 p.m. Saturday night at the Star in Frisco, which is a cool place to play.
Yeah, it is.
But it's kind of a weird place to play. Mm-hmm. It's indoors.
Right.
And it's small.
Right.
I mean, after the end zones, it's not a lot of room.
Right. The coolest thing is just the atmosphere for the kids. You know, when you get there, and we got there last year, it was just neat because this is where the Dallas Cowboys practice, you know, and you're going in a locker room, and the locker rooms are amazing. The locker rooms are really cool. But, you know, you get to see your name on the locker, you know, and I think that's nostalgic for kids, you know, to see that and whatnot. And, you know, you're in a practice facility that the Dallas Cowboys practice in and things like that. And it is nice. It's a really cool place to be. I thought last year when we played in the 3rd round there, our fan base was amazing. You know, it was over Thanksgiving break and whatnot, and I felt like we kind of packed the house a little bit. But that piece of it, I really enjoyed. But, you know, it kind of gives you that feel of, I was saying this last year, guys, if we just put stands in our indoor, we could do this, you know.
It very much is like that, yeah.
So, but it's I think it's just fun for kiddos to be a part of that, and you drive in, and you know, even Choctaw was kind of cool. It's probably more nostalgic for us old guys than the kiddos, just because you're like, oh my gosh, you know, Pudge and
right.
You know, Juan Gonzalez and whatnot, and the kids are like whatever. But you do, and you feel like, you know, you're walking back there, and you know, hey, Dak and, you know, CeeDee Lamb and whatnot, they're here, you know. And so I think the kids, it's really cool for the kiddos. And I'm not going to lie, it's really cool for us too.
All right, let's talk about what we've said in the regular season is one game at a time, one game at a time. But in the playoffs, you don't know who your next round opponent will be.
Correct.
Assuming there's a win this Saturday, there'll be a 3rd round game. Are you looking ahead, not emotionally, but just logistically? Do you have to do some scouting of who the third round teams?
Absolutely. So the thing about coaches is coaches, it's a tight knit group of guys, but it's also like it's a circle of gossip. And so it's really easy to get film of people. And I'm sure that every opponent in the state of Texas has film of Melissa, just like we have every opponent that we could potentially play in the state as well. But you do that. And then, you're already having conversations with coaches today about where you're going to play that third round game and things like that. So, and that's really hard to find a venue over the Thanksgiving break because, people are on break and they don't want to host. So a really special place will be open for us and whatnot when we have that opportunity. But you have to, and that's the thing that people were asking me last week is I don't know how much film I watched during the week, but if I watched, just throwing a number out there, if I watched 10 hours of White House, I probably watched 8 hours of sock. And then after that, literally
which some people will say that's presumptuous and you're
Right.
distracted, but it's a real logistical issue.
Yep. And
There's only so many times.
Absolutely.
Right?
So I have a notebook that is White House, Texas, and then when you shut it, slide it, and you get the sock one, you open it up as you're watching film, and you do that. And to this week, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep writing my sock one, and I'm going to push that to the side and bring my mid-low and my Marshall notebook and do the same. But and no offense to Everman, but I knew that was going to be a big test for Everman. But yeah, we'll be watching. The bulk will be sock, but we'll be watching Midlothian Heritage and Marshall as well, because you kind of want to get an idea before you get into the weekend, because the weekends can be so long. And the Saturday is we try to concentrate on Melissa on a Saturday. But man, like this week, we're going to have to, because it's going to be on a Sunday, and you're going to have to really, concentrating on Melissa is going to have to be like 10%, and whoever we play is going to be about 90%. So with that piece of it, it makes it a little bit more difficult too. But you want to get a head start. You don't want to just spend all day long, and then you want to have an idea on Monday or Tuesday that normally you'd have on a Sunday. So that's the biggest deal for us, is getting a head start, getting kicked off, and at least seeing their personnel, seeing their base offense, defense, special teams, getting that kid that's who's the kicker, who's the center, who's the quarterback, and who's the inside backer, blah 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 blah. That stuff's mostly done before you get into your Saturday and Sunday meetings, regardless. But now you're having to watch two opponents rather than just one.
Right.
And that's what makes it more difficult, just because it's so time consuming. Don't get me wrong, I say it's time consuming, but every coach loves it. It's what a coach lives for. Coaching is a chess match, and realistically, and a coach told me this. The kids play. You don't play anymore. The kids play. What is your job? Your job is to help the kids have success. That's what your job is. And and really, to be honest with you, get out of the way. So what can I do to help these kids with success? So as a coach, you're watching film, and like I said, do we move our pawn here? Do we, move our knight here? That's really what you're doing throughout the week. And then the kids just go execute. So, but yeah, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I have, and I guarantee you there's multiple coaches on the staff. We've watched every single opponent that we could potentially play. This is going back to the summer, that we could potentially play round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6. And I know for me, I'm watching people that we could potentially play in round 4 and round 5 and potentially in round 6 already. But that's just the life, you know. So, but like I said, you can grab and complain about it, but every coach loves it. We're like, oh man, it's so time consuming, man. And then, oh, what'd you do? I watched film. Didn't you just say that it was time consuming? You kind of made a grimace face.
And all of you are on your iPads and laptops with Huddle.
Correct.
Duke Sparks and his reel-to-reel tape where you have to cut the slice and put it. He's not really crying for you guys.
Yep, no. And the thing that's funny is I didn't get to do that, but I did. I got to see the evolution of the VHS to the DVD to Huddle, and there's no trading anymore. Yeah, it was just so fun back in those days when you actually had to go somewhere and trade. And Duke was telling me about when they would fly helicopters and drop them out the, the window. So I never had to do that.
I think that the state average business for the Dairy Queens has gone down.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because that's the
absolutely
famous meeting spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey man, let's go meet at that Dairy Queen. You get a breakfast on bun and an orange juice and move on with life. Yeah,
All right, last question for you. Finished up the season at the new house.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Your thoughts?
It was way better than I thought it was going to be. When it first got done and we were in it for graduation, you look around and you're so amazed at the people that built it. The people that designed it. You really start to look at it as I know this is going to sound weird, but like an art structure. You really start to appreciate that piece of it. And then when you start playing in it, then it really starts to become, at least for me, you start to own it, and it kind of it's our house. It's, Coach Kenny Dill Stadium is our house. So that piece of it for me was a big deal. I started taking ownership of it, whereas the beginning, even in the Argyle game, I was just appreciative of it. Just, wow, I cannot believe this, that we're doing this. Roy City game, I would say probably maybe the Terrell game, I started feeling like, okay, this is our place. But yeah, it was way better than I ever could have fathomed. But at the end of the day, it's the people that designed it, the people that built it, obviously the people that voted for it, but the people that ran it too. I mean, like, people ask me questions about that stadium all the time, and I'm like, I have no idea. I just coach in it. Like, I didn't come up with the board before the game, the hype video. I had zero ideas. They just said, hey, be here this day and say this stuff. Yes, sir. I didn't do the cage or anything like that came out. That's Kirby Wilson and those dads did all of that. So I had nothing to do with it. So kudos to them. We just went out there and played 7 ball games on it, which, once again, very, very appreciative. Like now, like I said, it's I feel like it's our place. So
the first season of Coach Kenny Deal Stadium is in the books, and the Cardinals will be in neutral sites for the rest of the way, and we hope it's a whole bunch of them.
Dang right.
This Saturday night, 7 p.m. kickoff, the Melissa Cardinals and the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears, 7 p.m. at the Star in Frisco. So be by the channel. We'll join you on the Melissa Cardinals Network. And we'll say thank you again to Gunar Wilson and Rocky Dunn for being with us. We'll say thank you for the fine folks here at the Dugout for hosting us. And we'll invite you to First Melissa on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. Go to firstmelissa.com to find out more. And all the Cardinals have to do this Saturday is beat the 2-time defending champs.
Dang right.
For Coach Matt Nally, this is Trey Graham saying good night from the Z-Plex.